morning radio. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DePrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah!
Back on my bullshit. Back to back on my bullshit. Matter of fact, that was bullshit. I'm going back to back on my bullshit. Do it one time, they gon' think it's luck. Gotta hit them with the repeat. Do it 2 times, they gon' still doubt. Hey, now I got a 3-peat. Gotta flood the streets till they knee deep. Gotta stay woke, can't be sleep. All this fly shit don't be cheap. All these bad that we keep round. Pockets gotta be deep now. Never lose again, living me deep down. Gotta keep winning, it's a clean sweep now. Tell her back it up, you hit 3 beefs now. Big truckload, call me Greek freak, big bucks loop. Paid in full, little Ace, little Mitch. You a Rico, little case, you'll snitch. Not from Chicago, but too shy to speak. Ask where's Waldo, I'm too hot and seek. Move like cargo, I do fly every week. Princess in Lagos, Dubai with sheiks. Everywhere I go, new vibes the freak. Told her I'm Drago, you Apollo Creed. Far as how cars go, you guys to me. I'm Murcielago and you dry your feet. I'm that bull in the hood. New lamb truck got the bull in the hood.
Welcome
Black
in,
and red, looking like
welcome
the bulls
in.
the hood.
It is Tuesday and you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. You heard that, sports opening. What is the song actually called? I don't know. I know there's a name of it for the actual theme song, but that opening where you see the players in the tunnel and they're getting ready to run out. Because we're talking a little bit about the sports tonight. And really, what we're really talking about is, what are you willing to sacrifice for streaming? Because, listen, they're about to continue to hit us in the head over and over again. So we're going to get into the announcement that ESPN, TNT, and Fox Sports are forming one streaming app where they will come together as a new company. We're going to get into that with the details about that. There's also been a bit of controversy around Lizzo appearing at the Grammys. You know that she is still dealing with a harassment lawsuit, and the lawyer for the 3 former dancers has come out and spoken out against the Recording Academy for Lizzo making an appearance at the award show. And it involves another artist too. So we'll get into the details of that. We're also going to get into a little bit in the third hour, just a little bit. There was a Drake leak today. And if you went looking for it, thinking that it was about music, you were wrong. So we're going to... so much with that. We're going to get into that later. And plus some commentary around Drake, because, there always is. We're also going to get a little bit into... Listen, there's a lawsuit that Elon Musk is funding against Disney. We're going to get into that. And speaking of, Mark Cuban and Elon Musk got into a Twitter spat today or an expat. I'm not sure how that goes, still figuring that part out. And it involves Sweetie. So those are just a couple of the many topics that we're going to get into tonight. But before we get into all of that, I have to get into a couple of these conversation starters, which of course are topics that we don't have time to get into the full conversation of, but you need to be aware. So first up, I know if you're in Southern California or know people that are in Southern California, you've been hearing about the rain off and on. So I'm playing Weather Girl and giving you a couple of totals for 2 days of rain in Southern California. Now, you know what we always say when it rains, we needed it, and we do. But the reality is we don't have the storage capacity. And once we're kind of there, the rest of this is just runoff. So that's something that, we'll have to talk about our future leaders with if you're into that. But that's a topic for another day. Let me give you a couple of these totals from around LA County. So by LAX, 4.5 inches. Culver City, 7.6 inches. Downtown LA, 7.5 inches. Burbank, 4.9. Bel Air, 12 inches. Northridge, 6.9 inches. So that's a lot of rain at one time. And we're not really equipped to handle it. And plus, I need the warmth back. So I'm hoping that we can spread a little sunshine. Is it supposed to be sunny or at least not raining for the Super Bowl? I do wonder, because we're so close to Vegas, Nevada, if it's going to be raining out there this week because, Super Bowl is going up. So speaking of Super Bowl, we know that the New York Times referred to Travis Kelce's haircut as the Travis Kelce that he just invented. Well, Travis is like, you guys aren't getting me caught up in the twist. He was asked about it today at Media Day for the Super Bowl. And he was like, yo, this was announced on February 1st. Everybody knows it's a fade. You guys are not going to do that to me right now. So I appreciate the awareness of Travis. It's not his fault. It's not at all. It is, they don't know. So it's the Taylor Swift effect. I wonder how much they're going to estimate she's going to bring in for the NFL this weekend. So listen, there's another wave that was started from Andre 3000. We know his album shot up the streaming charts. His tour sold out in something like 7 minutes. Well, add another hip-hopper to the list that is making the move into a more ambient and reflective type of project. Little John has announced he's coming out with a guided meditation album. It's going to be 10 tracks, and it's scheduled to drop next week, February 16th. So my question is, are you into Meditations by Little John? Like, I wonder if it's serious and if it's mellow, or, meditation by default is mellow, right? But it's Lil Jon, so it's got to have his own flavor in it. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. I'm going to give you the details on these 3 media giants that are coming together to make you pay for sports. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Climate is king.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world if we care enough.
JP Morgan Chase is building on the investments in California and around the country to help close the racial wealth gap and build a more equitable future. As part of JP Morgan Chase commitment, they are taking action to help improve financial wealth and access to banking in the Black community, helping more people open low-cost checking and savings accounts, hosting community seminars with supporting Black-led institutions by building awareness about financial investments, hiring community managers, and opening community center branches like Crenshaw, Inglewood, and downtown LA. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Get the tools to help reach your financial goals. Visit today, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity. Again, jpmorganchase.com/racial equity.
Watch out! You got me!
The galaxy is safe once again.
In the pretend universe, kids play with pretend guns. In the real world, it's up to us to make sure they don't get their hands on a real gun. If you have a gun in the house, keep it locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
You were locked in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, listen, we know as each year goes by, another streaming service is thrown out there wanting to take all of our dollars. We thought, and at first we were, getting a bargain from cable by cutting the cord, and I'm just going to have Hulu. I'm just going to have a Fire Stick. I'm only going to have Netflix and this. And it sounded all good until now everybody has a streamer, and everybody is trying to make money off of us. And everybody is trying to make you pay premium dollars to access content. So we know that ESPN has kind of been out in the marketplace in some form or fashion for quite some time now. Warner Discovery has indicated that there were various ways, I'm sorry, not Warner Discovery. Disney has indicated, their chairman Bob Iger, that there were various ways they were looking at sustaining ESPN, because obviously live sports is one of the few things that brings in the viewers, but it's expensive, the rights and so forth. And so they were trying to figure out a bunch of different models. Well, it looks like they have landed on launching a completely new streamer. It's set to launch this fall. It will combine ESPN, TNT, because you know we need our Inside the NBA, and NBA TV. Well, I wonder if that includes NBA TV content. Maybe not. ESPN, Fox Sports, FS1. It also includes ABC, the network, Fox, ESPN Plus, True TV, TBS, and all the little ESPN affiliate stations will be a part of this. So they haven't announced pricing yet, but they also will have hundreds of hours from the NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. Each of these entities, Fox, Warner Discovery, and what is the last one? ESPN, would own a third of the new company together. It would have its own set of executives and so forth, and its own separate entity, but they're trying to pull it together. I can only imagine what the per month structure is like. The formulation of it is sounding a bit like, I don't know if you guys remember when Hulu first launched, and you could watch a bunch of different reruns from different network shows. Obviously, some of them were cable networks. So it's sort of a thing like that where with Hulu, Disney was invested, and NBC Universal, I believe it was also invested. And then they broke off to start their Peacock situation. So it's all of these folding, coming together, separating back apart. But because live sports brings in the viewers, because we just recently saw on Peacock, it was 23 million viewers for that playoff game. Of course, they had the most signups ever for that. Expect to be paying a lot more for the privilege of viewing live sports. I'm telling you, it's headed to the fact that the Super Bowl is going to be pay-per-view. I guarantee in a couple of years it's going to be something like that. Andy?
My question is, with those new signups, how many of them actually stay?
They know that there's a retention problem, and they expect to lose some of them. But they think that they'll be able to keep some because of the exposure. So here's the thing. If your retention rate, let's say they set a goal of a retention of 5% to start, they probably could get that. Look how many people left Netflix when the NBC Universal pulled their reruns of The Office from that service and put them on their own. So people are very particular about their entertainment. And at some point, how many people balked initially for paying for NBA League Pass? And now there's some sports fans that would never do without it. And there are things like, I'm sure that they're going to try and incorporate things as far as, extra graphics, different types of broadcasts that will be available. We've seen a lot of that. We've seen the popularity of things like the Manning brothers, their Manning cast or whatever it was called. So there'll be different avenues in that aspect to explore. The only major league that would have something separate outside of this sort of locked up deal, which covers ESPN, ABC, and Fox, would be the NFL, because they still have their Sunday night football with NBC and Thursday night football at Amazon, and the Sunday game, which is on CBS. So you still wouldn't have a change as far as that aspect of it. But if you think about it, Thursday night football, you got to put down your Amazon. And if you thought your Prime membership before was giving you access, now Prime has added in another tier, and there are commercials now on there. And you have to pay an additional $3 a month if you want the commercial-free tier on top of your Prime membership. So these streaming companies are coming for you. And if you add up all of the cost of your streaming services per month, it probably is equal to or more than what your old cable bill used to be. So, and you're doing a lot of the work with the programming for them. So, I mean, it was convenient at first, but now it's just another way to get you more ensnared as far as funding this. Content's not free. Not at all. So we'll have to see what the price tiers are for it. Also, Warner Brothers Discovery, which used to be, the company Warner Brothers HBO, and then they merged with Discovery. You will be able to, and I think that has already started this season, catch TNT and especially the live broadcast on the Max app. So they're, trying to dip their baby toe in and figure out ways to keep you in these apps, keep you subscribed longer, and keep paying. So I'm sure that is part of the thing too, though. They know with every amount of new signups, a certain amount of those signups are going to drop, and there's a churn. Because you think about something like Stars, that's why Stars started airing like their Powerverse shows back to back on the tail end, because then you have less of a reason to drop them. You got to keep them because you want to keep the content flowing. So they get you in this year-round funnel, and it keeps going and going. So my question to you is, would you pay for this sports app, and how much would you be willing to pay for it per month? Andy, do you do any of that? Like, I know you're a sports guy, so would you pay for this?
No.
No, absolutely not?
Absolutely not.
Really?
As long as they're still airing sports on regular TV or cable, I'm gonna go that route. I have the ESPN app, but it's more so just for news and just breaking news type situations. But to watch programming on there, I'm good. I got my Spectrum cable app on my phone, so I could watch cable that way as well too. So I would not be purchasing. And quite frankly, there's streaming websites out there to be able to tap into. So as long as those are still around, I'm tapping that way. I'm not about to drop another $20 for like they have ESPN Plus. I'm not even on that. And like just looking at some of the programming that they have on there, I know they have like certain like boxing matches or whatnot. I can care less about that type of stuff. So
I like the I mean, I know they put some of the 30 for 30s, but I'm never motivated enough to actually carry it out. I think it might have come with my cable. Like, I think it's somewhere like that, how I have access to it, but I don't even know because I don't pay attention to it. And I really, surprisingly, rarely turn on the TV at this point anyway. So I don't know. Good luck with that. We'll have to see how that all pairs out, but they are coming for your dollars. They really are. Okay, so listen. There's two podcasters who are known for all the smoke. Well, they are in the news right now. One of them, low key, so to speak, though. So we know that Matt Barnes, he played for 14 seasons. He developed a reputation while in the league as sort of a hothead, right? Well, over the weekend, I believe it was last Friday, he was at a game where his sons, his twin boys, were playing. They play for Crespi High. Derek Fisher, Matt Barnes' former teammate, and now his twin stepfather is the coach of that team. So they were playing a game against Harvard Westlake. During the game, Carter Barnes was called for a technical foul. Well, let's just say, I guess Matt wasn't too happy with the call and ended up running up onto the court. And there was a lot of adrenaline flowing. And so Matt allegedly, there's video out there, but Matt allegedly ran over to the scorer's table and asked the student announcer what he was laughing at and put his hand on his shoulder. Well, there's a little bit of an uproar of that because, Matt was a little upset and some people had to come over and calm him down a bit and pull him away. But it wasn't, probably was inappropriate, but it wasn't like blows were thrown or, anything like that. As I said, there's video out there. However, Bill Simmons is wondering why it's not a bigger story. Harvard Westlake has come out and released a statement about it. They seem to kind of let it be a non-issue. Part of the deal was that the game was being live streamed. And so the student was live streaming as this was all happening and came back on the live stream and said that he also allegedly called Matt Barnes a kitty cat. So, I don't know if it's a situation of Matt felt like you were man enough or grown enough or adult enough to speak to me as an adult and insult me. So let me make sure you remember that I am the adult. I'm unclear, but some people are wondering why more isn't being done and if it is a case of them protecting a former NBA player. I don't know. As I said, there is video of the incident. Was it a little inappropriate? A little bit, but I don't know if there's a big thing that needs to happen. I think that we have gotten into a point where we're looking for a lot of performative responses to things so that it feels like there was some type of repercussion for the action. And we don't know what was said behind the scenes. For all we know, Matt Barnes has been banned from his son's games or something like that. They might have wanted to handle it behind closed doors. But I do wonder why the rush at times to just have something done, even if it doesn't necessarily amount to anything. And again, not taking away from the experience or what happened. The student is not implying, to my knowledge, from what I've seen, that he's traumatized or scared or anything of that nature. But, you know, here we are. It's probably going to be a good story for him to tell for a while to his friends and family, because nothing happened. Andy?
I know it's easier said than done, but parents need to check their emotions when they're supporting their children, especially at these sporting events. I think maybe the only solution, because you can't really stop anybody from being emotional about an emotional game, but you know, if a parent, guardian were to act out, come on the court, come on the field, try to show out, sorry, your son, your daughter is out of the game. So that'll probably be what, maybe a second technical, right? Yeah, you're out the game. Simple as that. Stay in the stands, and that's it. If you have a problem, wait until after the game, and, you know, holla at the coach or holla at, you know, whatever superior is there. But during the game, you know, keep your emotions in check. Easier said than done, though. I
mean, and I 100% agree. I don't think that there was, again, understanding. I don't know what the standings are, what this game meant, or any of that, but I don't think that that is how parents should be conducting themselves, especially in a gym full of kids that know exactly who you are, and one step further, probably are aware of the other circumstances, you know, surrounding their family. I just think that sometimes you have to think of your kids, even though you were probably thinking of your kid in that moment when you felt he got a bogus call.
Another pet peeve of mine. I'm sure that game wasn't televised or anything.
It was streamed. No, it was live streamed. Live streamed. So here's the thing. That is, for that generation, their television. And these are two big schools as far as, you know, private schools go in that division, as far as players on them. So
yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, being born in Los Angeles, no offense to the private schools and the schools in the valley and stuff. I just felt like when it came to high school sports, when it came to local, you know, broadcasting or anything like that, you never got any footage of like Crenshaw, Dorsey, Fairfax, Westchester, Palisades, you know what I'm saying? Like the LA schools.
Well, they no budget. These schools probably have whole TV production things on campus and stuff like that.
We got some talent in the city as well.
I mean, and that's for sure. But I think Harvard Westlake, it might be about $70,000, $80,000 a year to attend. Could be wrong. So they, you know, they're a little city of their own. But I mean, there's been a switch in a lot of ways as far as talent and high school sports. A lot of the most talented players go to private schools. They've been recruited. It kind of has switched up. It's not the same anymore. It's changed. When we come forward, we're going to have more trending topics and headlines. We are going to let you in on why Matt's co-host, Steven Jackson, is in a little bit of hot water out in these streets, too. And I guess, you know, all the smoke means all the smoke. But does it really? We'll get into all of that on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
The horn blows. This the last shot. You tryna be on the team or be the mascot? Wanna be the first lady or the last stop? I'm paying Dwayne Wade, but I flash knots. Whoa. I thought you could have been Jordan. Found out that you wasn't even Ben Gordon. Next one get flued out, I'm keeping them boarding. Like Tony Kukoc, I'm foreign important. Yeah, I cannot book with none of y'all. I got a bullseye on some of y'all. I feel like Michael in 95. Back on my book this summer.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. The former director of the Houston, Texas City Council Relations will spend a year and a day in federal prison. William Paul Thomas admitted guilt in court in connection to a conspiracy involving cash bribes that the government says he took in 2022. Prior to a formal indictment, Thomas, who is black, admitted he accepted the bribe in return for illegally altering a bar's classification to a restaurant, allowing it to stay open longer during COVID. New York State GOP leaders are calling on Governor Kathy Hochul to remove Manhattan's DA. In a letter to the governor, State Senate Minority Leader Rob Ort and 19 other GOP state senators are demanding Alvin Bragg's removal due to his mishandling of the recent attack on 2 NYPD officers by a gang of migrants in Times Square. The letter argues Bragg, who is black, has consistently thumbed his nose at crime victims, turned his back on police, and selectively prosecuted criminals for political reasons only. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Did you know Discover wants everyone to feel special? That's why with your Discover card, you have access to 24/7 customer service, as well as $0 fraud liability, which means you're never held responsible for unauthorized purchases. Learn more at discover.com/credit card. Limitations.
Got me a damn girl on my team.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe we have the best tag team in morning radio. Dominique DePrima and Tavis Smiley. As the first black woman in Los Angeles to anchor a morning drive talk radio show, Dominique covers local politics like a blanket. Weekday mornings from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. At 9 a.m., Dominique passes the baton to Tavis Smiley, who talks to everybody about everything every day until 12 noon. KBLA's dynamic duo, Dominique and Tavis. It's no wonder the LA Civil Rights Department is honoring Dominique DePrima this year at its Tell Our Story honoring black journalist leaders and storytellers event, Thursday, February 8th. Or that the John M. Langston Bar Association of Los Angeles is honoring Tavis Smiley at its 47th Annual Installation and Scholarship Awards Gala with its Community Impact Award on February 10th. We couldn't be more proud of Dominique and Tavis, who make black history every day, not just in February. If you're missing Dominique and Tavis weekday mornings on KBLA Talk 1580, you're missing out. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black.
Holla, yeah.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long.
We're unapologetically progressive.
KBLA Talk 1580. KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Stay Housed LA has the resources you need to know your rights and the legal support to back them up. The COVID-19 pandemic has cost people their jobs and livelihoods. This has left an estimated 1/3 of households not being able to make rent and facing losing their homes. This is a fear no one in our community should have to face. You have rights, though, and Stay Housed LA is here to help. Stay Housed LA is a partnership between the County of Los Angeles, the City of Los Angeles, and local community and legal service providers. Together, they provide tenants with the information and support needed to exercise their rights so they can remain safely in their homes. Find out more about your rights by participating in a virtual tenant workshop. Get the legal assistance you need. Find additional resources in Los Angeles County and the City of Los Angeles. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA County for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. Stay connected to Stay Housed LA for updates. This and more at stayhousedla.org. That's stayhousedla.org. Or call their hotline at 213-694-0040. We've got your black with a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Meet Cheryl.
Hey.
She's on vacation and lost in the moment. Unfortunately, so is her Chase debit card.
It's gotta be somewhere.
Maybe she lost it at salsa night.
These skirts should have pockets.
Or maybe she lost it at Pilates.
3 and 2 and...
But she's not worried. With the Chase mobile app, she can lock her card till it turns up. Tools that help protect. One bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/checking. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank, N.A. member FDIC.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking. Now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Now rolling for Duncan Shannon and their client CTPP. This radio spot is entitled Stephen, KICA 2023. ISKI code XCF S020500. And this is a 30-second radio spot, stereo monocompatible.
That was another way I would smoke once an hour. That didn't work either. All that would happen at some point of the day, I would end up doubling up. Other ways that I tried to quit was I stopped buying cigarettes totally. But if I took 3 puffs off of 15 friends, those didn't count because they weren't my cigarettes and they weren't full cigarettes. I went through a lot.
Every attempt is part of your story to quit for good. Visit Kick It California today at kickitca.org.
Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
They can't do it the way I do it. Move around this fluid. Birkin bags and feet up on the wood when I get to it. Levels to this game, you know the name of chess player. I got about as much fold in me as I got chest hair. There's none, you bum, let's bow down. Only real when we chow down. I can't think of any time a lane been in our powwow. We thoroughbred from a king line, that's Big H to Uncle O. Get the bills like Buffalo. What we got, we hustle for. I bleed the game and breed the game. Lil or you don't breed the same. You IG, no ID, that's a whole crisis. Jesus chain, I tweak the lane, made all-stars and max money. I pay M's and tax money. Got no friends, nigga act funny. All my dogs on path, but they ain't rich, we tryna build that. Nigga sad, painting myths, and I don't feel that. Never keep it real, but turn around and say it's real rap. Ain't nothing I ain't skilled at. Layers when I peel back. This that meet me outside. This that family till I die. This that MJ45. Run the bases and I'm back. This that travel never pack. Fill the jet with Louis bags. This that happy that they mad. We too rich, I hit a flash. This that
welcome back in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So Andy dropped a little on theme because we're talking about sports. Dame Dalla, that's Damian Lillard of the Milwaukee Bucks, out in the Eastern Conference doing his thing, free from the purgatory of Portland. And we'll see what happens out east. But there he is, and a platinum rapper to boot. And actually, probably the best. I know that there's been some questions. I know who said that they were better than Dame. I think Lou Will might have said he is. There's been a couple other people. Shaq holds the distinction of being the first NBA player to go platinum, first one to put out an album, all of those things. But look how far we've come. Did you guys ever hear AI's rap when he was Jules? Yeah, it wasn't going to work for him at the time, unfortunately. But I actually think in hindsight, I'm glad, even though I wanted it at the time, I'm glad that it didn't. I feel like at that time period, it would have taken him someplace else. I think he would have been in some stuff, just in the mix. I do. I think he would have been more into the hip-hop element than he already was.
He was already, that was his lifestyle already.
Yeah, I know, but it's different when you are a real artist. And, he wasn't at the Source Awards like that. Hecka posted up, I just think it would have taken him, my opinion of hip-hop at that time and what the goings on. I just don't think it was set up for that. And I think it would have, we already know the kind of stigma that was placed on AI at the time, right? He's revered now, but at the time, the suits were not rocking with him and he was the culture. Yeah? Fair? Yeah. So I just think it would have just caused him more harm. Because even Kobe, they were looking at Kobe, and Kobe was trying to do some, as my earth manifests and rotates the sun and my third eye blings, type rap. And they still were like, no.
Nah, because he performed All-Star Weekend that year.
No, I know he did,
with Tyra Banks.
I know. My friend was signed to Kobe's label. I saw Kobe perform at House of Blues here back in the day. But they didn't want him involved in the hip-hop community. They thought, I mean, with most at that time, yeah, it was like it's cute, yeah, yeah, yeah. We'll let you perform at All Star, but they weren't embracing it because you got to think at the time. Chris Webber had a label; he was trying to be a rapper. Kevin Garnett had a label, so they were all doing it, but it wasn't as accepting from the NBA and they weren't wrong, But
how are they not wrong?
Because a lot of stuff was happening.
But see, you keep on talking about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
What are the stuff that you think that AI would have gotten into? Because the way I see it, I just felt like it would have been a balance for him. You know what I'm saying? You had somebody like a Shaq who did it before. Mm-hmm. If he wanted to seek counsel, he could have reached out to Shaq and be like, "Yo, how did you ball?" and then do music at the same time. I know for Kobe it wasn't a big deal or whatnot, but I just
think Shaq and Kobe are different. Shaq and Kobe aren't going to go the places where AI feels comfortable. AI feels good. It feels good in any hood, in theory, right? I don't. We'll never know. That's just, I think in hindsight, I don't think it was a bad thing.
How about what it sounds like? You think that if he was like full-time rapping, it would have been a certain energy brought around. Because in my opinion, AI was already living that rock style lifestyle.
He was, but I think
practice.
Let me tell you this though. There is, and I tell you this from experience, right? Having worked in and socialized in both during this time period, there is and was a different energy with rappers and hip hop than it is with athletes at the same age. It's different. Even when they're turned up and it's a lot of things, it's just a different energy.
But I think AI still had the athlete tag. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like he was out in them streets. He was with his team for the majority of the time, and he'll go to an occasional club every now and then. I mean, I don't know. I know there was a big image thing around that time. And if we're talking about the lens from the NBA, I hear you. But I don't know. I just feel like he was already living the crazy. I wouldn't even call it crazy, but he had his fun, rapping or not.
No, facts. I'm not disputing any of that, and I agree with all of that. I just think it's a different element. There's, way more guns. Do you know what I'm saying? Just certain things that are the way it could seem the same, but it's not. It's just a different energy at times. That's just my thought and opinion on it. But on to other things. KBLA Talk 1580 is your election information station, and we just released our first ever survey of Black LA County voters. Now, the groundbreaking results highlight a wide open LA County District Attorney's race, plus the Black community's views on crime, criminal justice, and other key issues that are not being addressed by the DA candidates. To see the unique results of our first ever political poll of likely Black voters in LA County, you have to hit up our website, kbla1580.com. While you're there, make sure to get the rundown of all the candidates that we've interviewed, because we are ground zero, the point, your point of interest, to get all the information regarding the upcoming elections, right? And take a moment, fill out our climate justice survey, and listen. Keep in mind always that there is no station that is out here doing it like we do at KBLA Talk 1580. So we've got your Black. Make sure you tap into that. We appreciate it. Okay, a couple of conversation starters that I forgot to mention. How dare I? Now, one, and we're definitely going to get into this Steven Jackson story because, listen. But really quickly, Beyonce has announced on 2024 that she is dropping her hair care line. She released a teaser just a couple of hours ago, and allegedly it's going to give the people what they want. Now, we know that the hair care market the celebrity hair care market is a crowded space, but I'm sure there's one more room for Beyonce. So, like I said, the details are coming February 20th. And once again, as they come for your coins, do you have coins for Miss Beyonce? Miss Tina is said to be heavily involved in it. And Miss Tina did some hair back in the day. So we'll have to see. I think that it'll be a nice look for Beyonce. And also, don't forget this Thursday, 2/8/24, Kobe Bryant's statue is going to be unveiled at the Crypto.com Arena. You know it's always Staples Center here in LA on 2/8/24. So I'm excited about that. I cannot wait to see. I know it's got to be him doing a dunk. It's got to be him doing. You think it's going to be a crossover? Oh, you think it's going to be him standing up like how he was with the confetti falling up on the scorer's table?
The game winners.
Okay.
With his two arms up. That's the only thing I could think about. Or the time where he, I believe he hit the game winner against Phoenix, and then he kind of, I wouldn't even know how to describe it, but
he
grabbed
his jersey showed his heart, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, like, is the jersey going to be split? Is it going to be 8 on one side, 24 in the back?
Maybe.
All of that. So we're going to finally get to see the unveiling of that this week, and, I'm excited for it. Listen, when we come forward, more trending topics and headlines, you are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
At KBLA Talk 1580, we do Black history every single day. In fact, as the only Black talk radio station west of the Mississippi, we are Black history. Our annual Black History Month luncheon is fast approaching, and we want to be sure to give you ample time to get your company, organization, church, or group to join us at this year's celebration on the last day of the month, Thursday, February 29th at noon. Last year, we honored iconic local Black media personalities, including Pat Harvey, Jim Hill, Mark Brown, Beverly White, Sandy Banks, and Pat Prescott, and raised $20,000 in scholarships. This year, we're honoring Black Hollywood creatives who have used their artistic genius as climate justice champions. At this year's luncheon, we will be showcasing and sharing their inspiring work on our big screen. Plus, a scrumptious meal, live music, great company, and lots of fun with your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts. So contact us today at info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. That's info@smileyaudio.media.com or call 323-290-4690. We hope to see you Thursday, February 29th as we close out Black History Month. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your Black.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles is a nonprofit law firm that protects and advances the rights of the most underserved, leveling the playing field and ensuring that everyone can have access to the justice system. Every year, LAFLA provides free, high-quality legal services to more than 100,000 people living in poverty across greater Los Angeles. Their unique combination of neighborhood offices, self-help centers at courthouses, and domestic violence clinics puts Legal Aid Foundation of Los Angeles on the front lines in vulnerable communities and at the forefront of change. LAFLA's expert team of attorneys, paralegals, and support staff works to provide direct representation, offer counsel and advice, provide referrals, and educate the community about their legal rights through workshops and seminars. With locations all over LA, you can access their services or volunteer to help no matter where you live. And if you have an urgent issue, call 213-235-0060. That's 213-235-0060. To get legal help, make a donation, or volunteer, visit lafla.org. lafla.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Okay, so Steven Jackson, the other co-host of the All the Smoke podcast, also known while he was in the NBA to have all the smoke, right? For whomever. Nobody's forgetting about that Indiana Pacers team ever. The Malice at the Palace. Steven Jackson was one of those ones. But now, in his later years, people question if that type of energy is still necessary, right? It's not that it wasn't appreciated in his youth. Just, maybe people want to see a different side, perhaps. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is Austin Rivers, who you may not be aware of. He's the son of Doc Rivers, NBA coach, most recently the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks after replacing Adrian Griffin after about 6 months with a winning record. No problem. Doc Rivers will be coaching the NBA All-Star Game for the East coming up. By the way, he did say that he will give the ring and the money to Adrian Griffin for that, which you should. But appreciate him for, making sure that he let us know that. At any rate, his son, Austin, was in the NBA for a period of time. I know he played on the Sixers with his dad as a coach for a minute. A couple of other places. Yep, he did play with the Clippers, too. So, he's been around. I don't think he is in the league currently. Played with the Rockets, too, I believe. But recently, in an interview, I think he's doing some commentating. He was discussing LeBron James and Bronny, and he said, I don't want to see Bronny play with his dad. I went through something similar. What happens is that everyone starts to discredit everything that you've done. I don't want that negativity to come his way. He doesn't deserve that, right? And that's a very fair statement from someone who, as he said, has gone through something similar, not the same, similar. He is obviously the son of a former NBA player, now a coach. And let's face it, Doc Rivers, you may not have remembered Doc as a player. I do. I remember when he played with the Clippers. Shout out to them. But obviously, he's made some type of mark. There are varying opinions at this point as a coach in the league. And so there's a certain type of pressure that comes with that. There are a lot of legacy players in the league right now and coming up as far as the next generation. So imagine LeBron James. I feel like the way that he has dealt with his kids as far as the limelight and them following in his path, I think they've done a pretty good job. Sometimes I think maybe he shouldn't make some of the comments because it does feel like pressure on Bronny, but he knows his son better than we could ever. But I think that Austin bringing some of those things to light is fair. Not many people have that unique experience. There's only been about 5,000 people in the NBA to begin with. And of that, I mean, the numbers are climbing, but it's maybe 20 that are legacies? Something like that. Well, Stephen Jackson, he felt like Austin was way out of line in saying so. And what he said is, and your daddy not LeBron. Shut up. Difference is you trash. Bronny not. You can't compare to him, scrub. So first, I want to know, what's with all the vitriol? I can't remember if they were on teams that beefed. I know Austin, a lot of people have talked about that he is a little arrogant, right? They've considered him as such. And that he was a little spoiled because he was a coach's son. So he had, he grew up obviously privileged as far as financials or whatever. So he probably, and he's light skinned, and people are tough on light skinned guys. So I'm sure he probably had to pop his stuff. What did you say, Andy? I said it. We see evidence of it so many places. I'm sure that he had his unique set of challenges as well. But I want to know why Stephen Jackson's so mad. I don't think he said anything discrediting Bronny's talent or that it was a terrible idea. He is just speaking from the experience of being the son of a former player and coach. And you think about the fact that, if you want to point it out that Doc Rivers was not the caliber of player LeBron is, all the more reason. What kind of scrutiny? Look at what happened with Michael Jordan's sons. Everybody was like, dang, are they even going to go to college? That has to be a lot of pressure because you can't be your father. Andy?
I feel like half of the league are legacy.
They are. I mean, it's really like that at this point. Everybody.
So I think it's a case-by-case situation. I hear Austin Rivers, I understand where he's coming from, but you still played in the league.
Right.
Almost 10 years. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he's saying not for Bronny not to try and go to the league or whatever, but I think he's talking specifically about LeBron and Bronny playing on the same team together Bronny's first year in the league.
I don't think it'd be a problem. I mean, if I'm playing with my dad, who's been scrutinized his whole career, even prior to the league, I think I would lean on him with regards to at least, I'm sure LeBron is going to be protecting Bronny. Bronny has pretty much witnessed LeBron James his whole life in the scrutiny that's been brought upon him. I mean, hell, he's at USC right now.
Right.
I'm pretty sure he's getting scrutinized. I think I saw some highlights the other day. I don't know if it was at Arizona, wherever it was, but man, they was, you know what I mean? They definitely was heckling him. So,
but here's the real question, though, right? Because I've never really, really heard Bronny say it. What if Bronny don't want to play with his dad? What if, he wants to find his own experience should he make it to the pros? Like, you want to play with your dad necessarily?
Why not? For 1 year, let's do it. And you're going to be gone? That's all you want to do? You want to stick around just to play with me for 1 year? Let's do it.
I'm sure they have an amazing relationship. I'm not saying anything, but they're still father and son. I think son is probably like, let me cook a little bit on my own team.
And I think if that was the case, he probably would have said something about that.
Publicly?
Publicly, yeah. Why not?
I don't think so.
So he's just going to be on hush mode this whole time? With LeBron still running his mouth? If they didn't already have a private conversation like, yo, Pops, I don't know if I want to play with you. And if that was the case, I'm sure LeBron's tone would probably change. I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll see. I mean, we still got some time. I don't think Bronny's one and done, right? I don't think he should be. Not like that. That's just saying, there are things to be said about, what do we call it, 10,000 hours? He might be close, but it's nothing wrong with getting some reps in. Listen, second hour, we're going to get into this Lizzo story. There are people that are upset that she was allowed to present at the Grammys on Sunday. We're going to look at that and see if they're being fair and, is it a reasonable thing? The tables are turning, though, because there's been a lot of conversations about women-centered events and things that usually are reserved for conversations around men and their actions. And, of course, the men are saying that the women are being hypocrites, but is it a difference? I think that a lot of times there perhaps is, but at the same time, I do understand why these men are raising these vocalized concerns. Andy?
I'm just curious to know who has issues with Lizzo at the Grammy Awards.
Oh, we're going to get into it.
Because if it's social media.
Some of it is social media, but it's a little more than that. It's a little more than that.
I just feel like all these people,
They want to cry?
Nah, y'all act like y'all don't have skeletons in y'all closet.
Facts.
You feel me? Y'all acting like judge, executioner and all that. Like, chill.
I think we do expect a lot of perfection now, but I think that it is, nerves or just flat out projection. People are used to being judged, and so when they see someone else seemingly moving through a situation that they feel like would be challenging for them in a different sort of way, they react because it's like whataboutisms.
I know we living in sensitive times nowadays, but this sensitivity, I feel like, could be a little bit out of control. Like you said, you're expecting perfection from people. That's not the case. I'm sorry, y'all. The masses, you will continue to be disappointed with people and life. I'm just put that out there.
Facts. When we come forward, we're going to get into more trending topics and headlines. We'll get into that Lizzo story. All of that and more on the other side. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Everybody getting paid. Please excuse the way I enter. Got 4 kids out the placenta of the woman who's the center of all that's within me. Most you this agenda that you showcase from your fence to hit my ear and get dismembered. You can't offend me. I was bred for this Igbo mom with Twitch etiquette, libido high as Everest. My seeds grow for the betterment of
Every nigga who come from lack or your pops was whack or you pack a Mac in the back of the act, just trying to get your little paper to stack. Look, most my